Hello everyone, my name is Jonathan Suzamil and I'm a Writing Center consultant here at the University of South Dakota. Today I'm going to show you how to format your paper and sources according to the 8th edition of the MLA Handbook using Microsoft Word 2016. The paper you see in front of you was generously donated by a student, and we've stripped it of all its previous formatting for the purpose of this explainer video. Now, as I said, the guidelines and instructions I give will adhere strictly to the 8th edition of the MLA Handbook. It's possible that your instructor may have given alternate instructions for a few of the elements of MLA we will discuss. So, if the instructions given by your professor contradict my own, you should go with what your professor advised. First, let's make sure that everyone has the same formatting options and tools in front of them. Click on the View tab at the top of the screen, and make sure the box surrounding Print Layout is selected. You'll also want to select the box adjacent to Ruler, which will prompt rulers to appear along the top and left sides of your screen. This will help us make sure our margins and indentations are correctly set. MLA instructs us to use 1-inch margins on all sides of the paper. 1 inch on all sides is likely set as the default already, but to double check, let's click on the Layout tab, and then the Margins button. In the drop-down menu that appears, you should see a normal option with 1 inch on all sides. If you don't see a normal option, you can click on the Custom Margins menu item at the bottom of the drop-down menu. A window marked Document should appear, and you'll be able to set the top, left, bottom, and right margins to 1 inch from here. Before accepting the changes by hitting OK, make sure that you have selected Whole Document from the drop-down menu at the bottom of the window. Now hit OK. Next, let's discuss the formatting of the body of the text. For academic research papers, MLA instructs students to double space and left justify their body text. To do this, you must first select all the text in the document. Move your cursor to the top of the screen, and then click on the Edit button that appears. From the drop-down menu, select All. The selected text should appear within a blue background. Once your text is highlighted, move your cursor to the top of the screen, and then click on the Format button. From the drop-down menu that appears, select Paragraph. This should launch a window labeled Paragraph. From here, you'll be able to double space your body text by selecting Double from the drop-down menu below Spacing. You'll also want to make sure no extra space appears in between paragraphs by setting the Before and After settings to the left of the line spacing menu to 0. While we're in this window, we can also set our indentations by selecting First Line from the drop-down menu beside Special, and ensuring that 0.5 appears in the box to the right. Hit OK to save your changes and close the paragraph window. While MLA doesn't require the use of a specific font, they do recommend the use of Times New Roman. You can change your font to Times New Roman by clicking on the Home tab and selecting it from the drop-down menu in the top left corner of the ribbon. The menu lists fonts in alphabetical order, so you may have to scroll down to the T's. If you want, you can also select a font by typing into the top of the drop-down menu. MLA style mandates that writers use 12-point font. You can change your font size using the drop-down menu immediately to the right of the font menu. Now that we've completed formatting the body of the text, we can deselect the text by clicking anywhere on the page. Next, let's insert our paper's identifying information. When using MLA, writers are instructed to include their name, their instructor, the class, and the date. Insert each of these items on its own line at the top of the first page by clicking to the right of the first word of your paper, and then hitting Enter. Your cursor may automatically indent, like mine has here, but we don't want this identifying information to be indented, so hit the Delete key on your keyboard, and your cursor should now appear as far to the left as your paper margins. Now, let's go ahead and insert these 4 elements. Insert each of these items on its own line at the top of the first page. Make sure that they are all left justified and not tabbed over. Next, let's add the paper's title. In MLA, the title is centered, unbolded, 12-point, and in the same font as the remainder of the paper. Note that there is no extra space separating the title from the first paragraph. Finally, let's add page numbers to the paper. MLA requires the writer's last name and the page number in the upper right-hand corner, beginning with the first page. First, double-click on the very top of your title page. This should open a special Header and Footer tab. Make sure that the box for different first page is unchecked. Then, we'll click on the Page Number drop-down menu, and then click Page Number. For alignment, we'll select Right and Top of Page. Then, hit OK. The page number should now appear at the top right-hand corner of the page. Then, click to the left of the number and type your last name. Make sure that the page number and your last name use the same font and size as the rest of your paper. Now that we've formatted the document and inserted page numbers in a title, let's discuss the formatting requirements of MLA in-text citations. MLA style is made up of two parts: the MLA in-text citations, which appear in parentheses within the text of your paper, and the Works Cited page, which has entries providing additional information about each source. Let's start by considering the basic structure and elements of an MLA in-text citation. An MLA in-text citation has two key elements: the author's name and the page number of the information being quoted or referred to. Typically, both elements will appear together within parentheses at the end of the relevant sentence or phrase, as is seen here. However, if you've already mentioned the author's name in the sentence with the information you're citing, then you can simply include the second element, the page number, in parentheses at the end of the sentence. Note that this sentence does not actually quote material word for word from the author cited, but I've still included a citation. This is because you should include in-text citations not only when you're quoting material directly, but also when you're summarizing, paraphrasing, or referring to information. Books, journal articles, and many other sources will all follow this same author and page number structure. Note that for journal articles, also known as periodicals, the first page of the article will rarely be the listed first page of the journal. So if you're working from a scanned or downloaded PDF file, never simply count the pages from the beginning of the document. Instead, look for page numbers listed on the bottom or the corners of the document pages, and use those. These will typically be in the tens, hundreds, or even thousands. So don't be afraid to list them, even if they look too big. When citing a source contained in some sort of collection, such as a chapter or story within an edited book, in the in-text citation you'll always list the author of the chapter, not the author or editor of the entire volume. This is because the author of the chapter or story is the one who wrote the information you're citing. But fear not, the author and editor of the edited volume or book will be included in the Works Cited entry for that source on your Works Cited page. If you need to cite a source that doesn't list an author, such as a web article, simply include a shortened version of the title of the article or page in quotations in place of the author. Finally, if no page number exists for a source, as is often the case with blog posts or other online sources, you can simply omit that portion of the in-text citation. But always include the author, or if necessary, the title in quotations within parentheses. Next, let's move on to the Works Cited page. According to MLA, the Works Cited page should begin on its own page at the end of the document. The most efficient way to ensure that the Works Cited page always appears on its own is to click after the last sentence of your paper, hit Enter, and then click the Insert tab, and then the Page Break button. Your Works Cited page will include one entry for each of the sources cited in your paper. Some instructors may also want you to include other sources that you've consulted but did not refer to while writing, and if this is the case, you'll want to label the page with a broader title, such as Works Cited and Consultant. But for this document, we'll only list Works Cited. To create the title for the Works Cited page, first, center your cursor and then type Works Cited. Now, let's walk through Works Cited entry formatting for two of the most common types of documents, books or monographs, and journal articles. Begin by listing the author's name. Because we're creating a Works Cited entry that will later be alphabetized by author's last name, list the author's last name first, followed by a comma, and then the first name followed by a period. If your source has more than one author, you can include up to 2 additional authors after the first, separating them with commas and making sure that the second 2 are not inverted. If a source has more than 3 authors total, instead of listing them all out, just include the first author, followed by a comma, and the Latin phrase et al. After the authors, we'll list the book title in italics with a period after. Follow the same capitalization as used in the original title. Finally, we'll then include the name of the publisher without italics, a comma, and the year of publication. For journal articles, we'll also begin with the author's names, again with the first one inverted, and follow them with a period. Then we'll include the title of the article, but place it in quotes instead of italics, and end with a period. After the title of the article, we'll include the title of the journal, which is in italics, and then, separated by commas, we'll include the volume number, the issue number, the year, and the page numbers of the entire article, not just the parts you cited. Note that if your article doesn't have an issue number listed, you can leave that part out. Chapters or stories within edited volumes or books will look very similar to journal article citations, with the chapter or story title in quotations and the name of the larger book in italics. However, you won't list volume and issue numbers and will instead include the editors after an edited by identifier, as seen here. Unfortunately, I don't have time to show you how to format a bibliographic entry for every potential type of source, but I've included links in the description of the video to several MLA citation instructional sources that contain formatting instructions for additional source types. Alright, now that we've populated our Works Cited page with all our sources, we need to make sure that our sources are alphabetized so they can easily be located using the information listed in the in-text citations in your paper. To alphabetize your sources, click and hold your left mouse button to the left of your first entry, and, while holding the button, drag your cursor down the screen until it passes your final entry. Then, let go of the mouse button and click on the alphabetize symbol on the Home tab of the ribbon above. A window marked Sort Text should appear. Make sure that Paragraph is selected from the first drop-down menu, and then hit OK. Your entry should now be alphabetized. We also need to implement a hanging or reverse indentation for our Works Cited page. So, before deselecting the text, click on the Format button at the top of the screen, and then select Paragraph from the drop-down menu. A window marked Paragraph should appear. Select Hanging from the Special drop-down menu, and then hit OK. Finally, double-check to make sure that the title of the Works Cited page appears at the top of the page. Note that since we've used multiple sources, we've made works plural, but if you only cite one source, make it singular. I'd like to thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to check out the University of South Dakota's other citation-style videos, which include APA and the Chicago Manual of Style. Writers looking for information on specific citation or formatting puzzles can consult the sources listed in the video description below. Thanks again for watching, and I wish you the best of luck in all your writing and researching endeavors.